welcome to Business Notes. I'm your host, Diane Bogino, President of Performance Strategies and Diane Bogino Development. Our guest today is Lisa Jones. For more than 15 years, Lisa Jones has been a digital innovator and disruptor for marketing communications. As CEO and founder of iMail Inc., Lisa has developed multiple patent-pending technologies within the digital video and email marketing space. Lisa has been able to propel iMail Inc. forward through collaborations with Fortune 100 brands such as Warner Media, Coca-Cola, Delta Airlines, and Porsche North America, enabling each of these brands to bring personal visual experiences direct to the consumer's email inbox. Lisa, welcome to Business Notes, and thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Lisa, the introduction was a little lame because I found out that you and iMail have won a lot of awards, not just a few, but a lot of awards. So congratulations. I know you're too humble to mention that. So I want our viewers to know that about you right away.
Thank you.
And you also worked at NASA.
I did.
And in your spare time, you're going to Harvard Business School.
It's very true. I'm very ambitious, as you can tell. Absolutely. In the midst of being a full-time CEO, I am going to Harvard as well.
So let's dive into this. Why do people need iMail, and how is it different from an email service provider like, what is it, MailChimp and Constant Contact? Yeah.
Right. So that's a wonderful question. The reason that people need iMail is because everyone deserves to have the best email experience. When we think about email, we think about all of these emails that we receive in our inbox. On average, it's said that we receive 120 emails a day and that we send out 40. Yet 73% remains unread. And the reason we all know and feel this pain is because we know what it's like to be inundated with all of these messages. So iMail solves the problem of adding engagement. So from step one, when an iMail is open, there is a video and email experience from step one to quickly capture your attention. Excuse me. And in that response, as soon as it opens, that's the ability to engage, and it plays on mute. And when it delivers, it's only 4 to 15K in size. So now you don't have to worry about attachments or bandwidth issues because everything is contained within the email inbox. And the core driver, I'll say, is also, Diane, at the end of the day, we want people to go for that call to action. Maybe it's to purchase a book. Maybe it's to test drive a car. Maybe it's to buy a product. So the idea that iMail can increase the value proposition of being able to increase click-throughs of 60% for open. And on the click-through side, actually, it's 38%. And that's as opposed to 2 to 4%. Now we're driving numbers upwards of 38%.
Wow, that's quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah.
So what is your biggest challenge in being number one, an innovator, and also introducing an innovative product like iMail to customers?
The biggest challenge is a lot of customers will feel, well, nothing's wrong with our email. That's where innovation starts, really, is looking at those gaps between what exists and what could be better, what could be elevated. And so the biggest challenge in a lot of cases is saying, let's look at your current email system. And this is a great question. It goes back to your part of your first question that you asked. How is iMail different or the same as an email service provider? And the beauty of iMail is that we're cloud ready, but we are built agnostic. We are able to integrate with any third-party email systems such as MailChimp, Constant Contact, Salesforce.com, whichever one, HubSpot. And so we built iMail that way so that you wouldn't have to switch from your email service provider. We are that niche layer that brings the email to life. Each one of your customers deserves the experience. An experience. Everything should be a great experience, and why not your email as well? So in innovation, it goes back to connecting the dots, aligning the stars to say, you keep pressing forward. I remember, Diane, there's a story of the Wright brothers when they first started in Kitty Hawk, they say North Carolina in 1903. And it was the first flight. They had 5 people there, and the first flight only lasted for 12 seconds. 12 seconds. And they all celebrated. And they celebrated that. Now, today we would say, what are we going to do with 12 seconds, right? But the idea of being the first, the innovator, is the starting point to continue growth. And that's the same roadmap that iMail is on, is taking these early adopters, these progressive, forward-thinking enterprise brands, and driving the business forward.
Great. And how did you start this company?
I started iMail actually because I was looking for a way to honor the memory of my mother, of all things. That's how iMail started. I remember just going to, I'm from Alabama originally, and I got the word that from my sister all of a sudden that my mother had passed away in her home at the age of 61. And I remember the impact of that one communication had on me and my life, because sometimes when you lose someone that's close to you, it's kind of like a redefining moment. And I remember just as I went to her services, I was planning to speak that day. I wasn't on the program, but I could not make it to the podium to get up and speak. And so to me, the experience lasted for 7 minutes of her graveside funeral. And as I remember people going back to their cars, I remember thinking to myself, is this what life comes down to, is 7 minutes? Someone gave their whole life, they raised 3 daughters, and now these 7 minutes. So the last prayer that I made to my mother was that I will go back to Atlanta. I will find a way to start a company, and I want it to be global. I want it to be inspiring, something inspiring. And it was to create a legacy for her and to make up for those 7 minutes. The 7 minutes was the catalyst of me starting iMail. So I started thinking, Diane, when I got back to Atlanta, how could I start this business? What is it going to be? And I thought about communication because I remember the impact of one communication. And so when I did all of this research, I signed up for 150 email companies, and I noticed there was something in common. Well, I signed up for 150 brands to see what their emails look like. And it was something that was in common. All of them lacked engagement. I did not feel special. I did not feel engaged to take that next step for a call to action. So I said to myself, what would happen if I could create a brand, a global brand? Because in email, you click one time and it's anywhere in the world. So what if I could create a global brand that as soon as you open it, you feel connected, you feel engaged, you feel inspired to take the next step? And with that, iMail was born.
Wow. So what was the spark that created iMail?
The spark that created iMail was the idea of the gap between email today and the lack of engagement, as we're talking about here, from how can it go to the next level? And I should say that iMail is not for every single email that you're sending out. iMail is for your marketing communications that go out to your customers, possibly. It's for internal to your company, for employee engagement, and also for events. Event driven could be your communication regarding your invitation or your survey. So there's so many different touch points. Wherever you do send an email or can send an email, it's an opportunity for an iMail, but it's strategically thinking about within your brand, where do you want to connect people the most? Is it an overview about your company? Is it about a new product or feature? And just to thank a customer. So what better way to communicate to your customer? We're all separated right now, technically, but we're still together online, and everyone is still checking their inbox. So what better way to stay connected during this current season?
Absolutely. Good point. Good point. Now, you already have a global team. I think you have Canada, Pakistan, Africa, India, and the UK. So why did you decide that a global team was even necessary?
It goes back to my vision from day one, that promise that I made to my mother. It's amazing how, excuse me, you can find something that's a catalyst and it drives you to do something radical or something that you ordinarily wouldn't do. And the commitment that I said that I wanted to create a global brand, I've always been the type of person that I enjoy connections with people, understanding their culture, understanding anything about them and their families. And so I knew from day one that I wanted the company to be global. So I sought out for resources in different parts of the world to bring together diversity of thought, because now that elevates iMail a whole nother layer. When we go service a Delta Airlines or a Porsche North America or a Major League Baseball for that matter, it's not just focused on here's one train of thought. We all come together collectively from around the world, which I think is so cool, to come up with a solution for the client.
Yeah. In addition to all your other allocates, you're also an advocate for female entrepreneurs. Now, what challenges do female entrepreneurs experience, and especially what do women of color experience in business and even starting a business?
Thank you for that question. I really appreciate that because there needs to be more light shed on the topic for sure. So for women, I would say the some of the main challenges include the access points. Well, let me start here. Some of the challenges include being taken seriously on an issue. So for example, in my case, it was I want to elevate email so that it's more engaging. I faced so much opposition of saying, well, Lisa, why do you want to do that? Why do we need a video in an email? What's wrong with the words? What's wrong with reading? And so getting the support that you need to grow sometimes is an issue as a female, because others may not agree with your methodology. I would also say access to the opportunity. We may or may not play golf. It shouldn't boil down to being a good old boy that's necessarily required. Women, we have such beautiful nuances about ourselves. We diversify at any moment. We can change our mind. We can do all these wonderful things in the process. And so the idea that as a woman, we have the support of each other. And I would say as a woman of color, um, the challenge that I've experienced as a lot of my colleagues is just access to the opportunity, Diane, from the standpoint of getting to the door, just to be able to have that 15-minute, not 30-minute, getting to that 15-minute meeting is critical. So access to opportunities, access to capital is a problem in general for women, right? Because they say only 2% is from venture capital goes to women, and less than that for women of color. And I just think it's a constant proving yourself of saying, okay, so you're saying your customer is a Delta Airlines. Yes. You're saying your customer's a Porsche. Yes, it is. You're saying you're going to Harvard. Absolutely. So it's always that constant validating that's required to some degree. But this is what I also say on the positive side of it all. The positive side of it is we women can do it all. And we women do it beautifully. And so that's why it's such an exciting time now because we all can go to that next level.
What advice would you give someone trying to start a business these days, of course, especially women?
The advice I would give anyone that's trying to start a business is find a key niche area that is filling a void, that is filling a gap in the marketplace for sure. Before you build it all out, test the market to see if there is a viable need of people saying, oh, I can relate to that problem, or I would buy that if it's like a test market of discovery. I would recommend that. I would recommend that you develop a catalyst, a reason for the business aside from wanting to just make money. Just as I mentioned about my mother, even when I have good or bad days, some days I'm like, oh, what am I doing? And other days I'm like on top of the world, right? But it's about when you have your lows, sometimes your lows can be very low and you need to be grounded and you need to be balanced. And that goes back to having a catalyst for your business. And so I would say finding a motivation is key. I also share this, Diane. I am probably the biggest Rocky Balboa fan. Like I have the whole collection of Rocky. I have a 6-foot cutout of Rocky, even in my home. And the reason I have that is because Rocky to me symbolizes the underdog of wanting to go for it, taking a dare on your dream. And one of the things that he says in one of the iterations of Rocky, he said, the world ain't sunshine and rainbows, and every day is not going to be perfect. But it's not about how hard you can get hit. It's not about how hard you can hit, but how hard you can get hit, get up, and keep moving forward. And that's how winning is done. And whenever I hear that, it just makes me remember the importance of we're all going to have good or bad days, but no matter what, you still get back up and you keep going forward. So in answering further your question about what would I advise an entrepreneur, that is either beginning or in the middle of the journey or even at the end of the journey. I would just say keep moving forward, keep learning, keep being open, keep being kind to others. It's important to be kind, wouldn't you say, Diane?
Yes, indeed.
People dismiss that word kind, but kindness is very important. And kindness will get you in a lot of doors and a lot of places as well.
That's for sure. So you mentioned industries and marketplaces. So what are some ways that iMail may be used? Is there a particular industry that is better for than another?
Actually, from an iMail perspective, email touches so many wonderful industries, every industry. Even when we go to sign up for something online, think about the fact that as soon as you go to sign up or to go to a website, it'll say your email address if you'd like to receive this discount, or your email address so that we can have access to send you more information. So it's like the footprint of your online presence. And so there is not a limitation to any industry for iMail to serve. It's wherever you as a company or a brand, a nonprofit, and an entrepreneur is looking for a way to stand out from the clutter, because we all want to stand out from the clutter as a competitive differentiator.
Right, absolutely. And what's in the future roadmap for iMail?
The future roadmap for iMail, we have a patent pending on our technology now. We're working on some new patents to be able to service our clients that go beyond the email inbox as well. So we are continuing to innovate. We are continuing to expand our presence internationally. Our goal, Diane, includes also having that international presence, but for mass adoption. And that would include having more presence with other clients from diversified industries as well, just different areas of the business, and to continue to create value and to continue to educate with regards to the importance of having an iMail experience versus an email and bringing email to life.
Lisa, what drives you?
What drives me? That's a great question. What drives me is one of my greatest fears, and I don't mind sharing this with you all because I think transparency is important. One of my greatest fears is to have lived a life. I want to live a life with no regrets. I want to deliver my best every single day. And I want to reach my maximum potential. It would be a waste of my existence if I didn't try to reach my existence of the greatest I can be, the greatest I can contribute to someone else every single day. So what drives me is my willpower, my commitment as part of it being in my DNA to do right by others, for goodness to come, to be full of gratitude, and to keep the journey moving forward. That's what drives me.
Wow, that's a lot, and we could all take a page out of your book for sure. And if we could bottle your enthusiasm and sell that, we'd all be rich.
Thank you, Diane.
Lisa, what's the best way for somebody to get in touch with you?
Sure. The best way to get in touch with us would be to, by all means, visit our website. And that's one way. We're also on all the social media under iMail Inc. with the INC. You can go to LinkedIn or Instagram, anywhere, Twitter, and we're there as well. And you can also email us at hello@imailinc.com.
Okay, great. Lisa, thank you for being on the show today. You've really brought us some good perspectives that we can all take a lesson from.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's always a blast to talk to you, Diane, and to your audience. And I just wanted to say thank you for all of the great work that you're doing in the community and in sharing the business notes and everything wonderful that you're doing. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Lisa. See you soon. Thank you for watching Business Notes. We've been speaking with Lisa Jones, CEO and founder of iMail Inc. I'm your host, Diane Bogino, bringing you business ideas you can bank on.